6 p.m. I call this meeting of the Common Council to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Move next to roll call, Clerk Treasurer Aldridge.
Carolyn Pearson. Traeger.
Present.
Brian Garrison.
Present.
Dale Stewart.
Here.
Mike Shockley.
Present. All right, move next to reading of minutes and approval. The first set of minutes are from October 1st, regular meeting. Are there any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to that set of minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move next to minutes from the October 8th special meeting. Is there any additions, subtractions, deletions, or amendments to be made to this set of minutes? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mike.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Move next to a special guest. Tonight we have two due to a scheduling conflict last month. So I would like to introduce Julie Leahy, the Director of the Carroll County Chamber of Commerce, to the floor. Ms. Leahy.
Okay, good evening, thank you for having me. Just wanted to share some information about some things that we've been doing at the Carroll County Chamber. And just to kind of bring you up to speed, we had produced an annual report earlier this year. So I apologize, it's almost the end of 17 now, but at least this gives you an idea of what we did last year, some of the success we had. It shows that we had 181 members last year, 12 of them were brand new. And then the graph to the right kind of breaks it down by the type of business that you see. And then of course down at the bottom talks about kind of where everybody's from, and you'll see that 48% of our chamber membership is from the Delphi area. So that's something that we continue to work on. We hosted 18 events last year, and I'm pretty sure we will surpass that this year. So anyway, and then on the back it gives you a list of all of our board of directors. Our current president is Rex Millhouse. We have several partners that are platinum and community connector levels, and then the staff is myself, and then I have a part-time assistant whose name is Dakota. So we continue to do a weekly newsletter. It goes to about 525 people, and the open rate is still pretty phenomenal. Lots of people are seeing that. More and more people want to sign up and just want to generally know what's going on. So that tells you a little bit about our year last year. To give you an idea of the Bacon Fest this year, and I do want to thank the city, some of the gentlemen here in the back with the police and with the streets, the water. It was a tremendous event. We couldn't have done it without everybody's support. We had 8,500 people this year, and we raised about $21,250. So that's how much we have donated back to various nonprofits. So in 5 years, we have donated $140,000. So it's been a very successful event. It requires about 300 volunteers, and we have several nonprofit organizations that do help with that. Another thing I wanted to let you know that we did host our annual awards banquet last Thursday evening. We awarded U.S. Aggregates the Business of the Year, and so they had several staff that attended, and they were thrilled with the honor, so we were happy to give that to a Delphi business this year. Some other things that we do with the tourism side of things, we do publish, we advertise in a lot of different magazines, and we advertise Delphi events as well as some Delphi business, different organizations. The Festival Guide, this is a widely used guide throughout the state of Indiana. We put several events in here, so every year, and next year we're adding even more events. So we're trying to promote Opera House events, canal events, Adams Mill, things like that. So lots of things are going in this book. This goes all over the state. We do print a map, and believe me, in our office we get requests for maps all the time. In fact, I'm about out, so I'm going to have to print some new ones. So on one side is the county, the other side is Delphi with the Delphi trails. We continue to see an increase in the number of people asking for trail information, so we're happy to see that some of that is starting to come back. Something new this year, we created Carroll County Food and Fuel Guide. kind of it was sparked by some folks at the canal, where you have a lot of people that visit, and they just want to know where they can eat, especially on Sunday. So we decided to put something together that is about the whole county, and we even made special notations on things that were open on Sundays. So this, we try to share it with anybody who wants it. We do advertise in the state travel guide. So this has been another really strong publication for us. We try to really focus on the great assets that we have in Carroll County. We've included camping for Delphi, which is at the Canal Center. They've seen quite an uptick, I believe, just from some additional advertising that they don't normally do. We talk about the Opera House, the canal, or the main things from Delphi. Of course, we advertise Adams Mill and things like that, different attractions. We list Delphi, or the Carroll County Chamber, as the tourism authority. So people call us when they want information on things to do, where to go, what to, places to visit, places to stay. So we do that, and then we also have partnered with the Herald Journal. They put together this really nice publication. It's an information guide. So anybody that's new to the communities or moving here, we certainly get this in their hands. We've tried to update it with government numbers, who to call, what libraries, some different businesses, the schools. This has been a really good publication, so we're happy to help with this. And we do advertise in other publications like the Purdue, West Lafayette, and Lafayette Guide. The Visitor Center there still is a very strong supporter of Delphi and the things to do here, so we make sure that we're in this guide every year. Surrounding, we got the Ware, which is Monticello. We advertise in Logansport, just to bring people here. So that's really what we try to do, is bring visitors to the communities. And that's what we have been doing. We maintain what I would call a part-time visitor center in our office. People stop in, especially in the summertime, and we put the signs outside that say stop here for information on things to do. We get visitors from all over the place. It's really kind of cool. And we're getting ready to kick off Shop Small campaign that starts the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So we're going to be creating a passport savings program that encourages people to go all over the county. So mainly start here and then go shopping in the other communities. So any questions?
Good job.
Try and stay busy. Very busy.
Do you have any questions for Ms. Leahy? Any questions from the public?
Okay, thank you for your
Thank you.
support. Appreciate it.
I'd like to introduce Director Laura Walsh from the Carroll County EDC. Ms. Walsh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Just a little update on what we've been up to in 2018. You should have received earlier, probably late May, early June, our annual report, the close-up, if anyone wants one. I brought a couple with me today. These have been very helpful as we have really hit the pavement this year, talking to site selectors and the decision makers in real estate for large corporations around the country. This, along with our HHIP marketing materials, have been well received. So that's been one of our top priorities this year, is marketing the industrial park. And we've been on sales trips with the state, with our regional group, Indiana Technology Corridor, and then we've done some sales trips on our own, including to Atlanta, Indianapolis, Chicago, California in August, and then I'm going back next week with the state of Indiana. So we're really getting in front of a lot of site selectors this year. We've had 18 one-on-one meetings with site selectors this year. We have submitted the Hoosier Heartland Industrial Park for 32 projects. Some of those leads have come from the state through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation, and then some of those have been leads that we've generated with our own marketing efforts. We have the industrial park, Sycamore Industrial Park, the former Select Seed facility in Camden that's now owned by Jeff Wise, and Peters Industrial Development on North Washington Street. Those are the main facilities that we've been marketing. And in the last 90 days, and I just looked this up today, we've had 2,643 views of those properties on LoopNet in the last 3 months. Speaking of Peters Industrial Development, we've worked very closely with the two developers of the Delphi Industrial Park and the Peters Industrial Development. They now have 6 businesses in Peters Industrial Development. I'm sure you've driven by it recently, but it looks very good. They're continuing to make improvements and investment into that facility. Their next big project is the front office area, the former PNR office area, which I have been in lately, and it definitely needs the improvements and the renovations. So that's their next big step. Next Day Container next door continues to grow and thrive, and they love being in Carroll County. If you recall, they came here from Lake Psychic because of power issues and land. They were landlocked, and so they couldn't grow and expand. Since they've been here, they have surpassed their estimates on employees, and they're continuing to do well. I'm very happy that they're here. We have, but existing, as important as business attraction is, and we love bringing new companies here, our top priority is the existing industry support. One thing, we meet with our existing companies to find out what they need and things that we can troubleshoot for them. And we were meeting with the Andersons. Mayor Evans was in this meeting several months ago now, and they had a warehousing need. And so we were able to connect the Andersons with Peters Industrial Development, and now the Andersons is a large tenant at Peters Industrial Development. So we're trying to keep that business local and try to prevent any leaks. But that warehouse market in Lafayette is very tight, which is good news for the Delphi market. And with the Peters Industrial success, there obviously was a need to be filled in that sector. 500,000 square feet under roof. I thought it would take a lot longer than under 2 years for that to fill up. We still continue to administer the Delphi Redevelopment Commission, and we're working on talent attraction. We're partnering with Lafayette. There are still lots of jobs in this area that need to be filled, and we're looking at different ways of filling it. One is attracting workforce to this area. The first prong of attack is looking at people who've just been recently left the military, and so we've done marketing efforts and set up job fairs at Fort Hood and Fort Campbell, and trying, as these young men are coming out, and young men and women who have a lot of skills, but most importantly, they can pass a urine test and they can show up for work. They know how to do that, and that's more difficult than you would imagine. So that's our first way we've attacked it. We're also working with our schools. Superintendent Briles and Superintendent Thackeray are now ex officio members of the EDC Board of Directors, and we have a line item in our 2019 budget for school partnership. We want to continue to work with them on not only enriching the students' experience and preparing them for the workforce, but also to promote and market. With the school funding formula the way it is now, schools are, their funding is based on how many students they have in the classroom. And so that means that schools are now having to market and they're able to compete. They're not competing with other school districts. We have 2 fantastic school districts in this community. So we're working with them very closely. We're also working on housing development because if you bring in new people, the first thing that they want to do is they want to look at our housing market. And the housing market for Carroll County, but also our region, the metro area, including Lafayette, is very tight. We're getting interest from housing developers, and housing developers who are already building here, but on a very small scale, are having a lot of success, and so they're interested in doing more. We have a lot of housing data and reports that we've accumulated, that we have distributed to housing developers who have called with interest. So we're working with them. We think new housing is a key priority. The City of Delphi appoints 3 members to our board. Our president is Mr. Traeger. Our immediate past president is Joe Mayfield. And our newest board member is Ken Walton. And Ken brings a lot of really good perspective. He has a diverse corporate background and then also as a former business owner. So he's been a great addition to the board. But the city is very well represented on the board, and you have 2 members of the executive committee. So that's just a little bit about what's going on. I'd be happy to answer any questions or give out a close-up.
Any questions for Ms. Wallace? Public questions, Ms. Wallace?
I did have a comment, I don't know if it's a question. Last time when you were here, I asked about a financial statement or something of where the money actually goes. I mean, you're alluding to the fact that the schools are now in your budget. I mean, is there any public way that, I mean, that people can see what money, that money is going for, that is contributed by the cities and towns?
Yeah, and I thought I sent that, but I have a document that I also presented to the commissioners. It was for calendar year, fiscal year 17. I could also share our 19 budget. It's going to be it's on the agenda for Thursday's board meeting, so it hasn't had its final approval yet. I'm trying to think, we could also maybe do like a profit and loss from this year. Yeah, I'll get with Dick and we can get that distributed to the.
Well, I think, you know, it would be important for it to be on the record for the city in that, you know, when this is a significant amount of money that we're asked for every year and people say, so where does that go? What is done with that money? And, you know, I'm not been able to answer it very readily, so.
Right, well, and because we're a private nonprofit, our financial statement is not subject to public, although we do have to file a Form 990 every year that's available online for free, that kind of shows our financials, but, our financials aren't publicly released, but there's nothing in our financials that would make it not readily available. So, yeah, we'll get together, Dick and I can talk about what's the appropriate reports, and we can email them out, not a problem. Speaking of edit, I went back and looked, and so I came on board in June of 2010, and the annual edit income for the city of Delphi, that distribution that year was $118,953. In 2019, the estimated revenue from edit is $150,027 for the city of Delphi. So a 26% increase in edit revenue, and then and EDC efforts do play a small role in that edit increase as we've worked to on expansion projects and business attraction projects. So now that there are more people working in Carroll County and paying that economic development income tax, and that increase of about $30,000 just in the time I've been here is about equivalent to the city's contribution to the EDC. So I just wanted to highlight
What's
that.
the employment at that container?
That container. It was 26 last I looked. Part of the issue is they've had a challenging time finding employees. That's been one of the hiccups on adding a second shift is finding enough employees to work, which is a common issue with employers.
It seems like they just have a lot of product on the ground.
They do, yes. And that was important to them in their site location decision, was having lay-down space.
Any other questions for Ms. Walls?
I do. The plastic recycle or Camden, you have nothing to do with now, right?
Right, it's my understanding that the Camden Florida Rail Corridor Commission is still working closely with the company. We worked with them. Our main part in that process was getting a local incentive package together for them. And so we worked with them through that process. And once they had their local incentive package approved by the county council, they're now working with the Rail Corridor Commission.
Okay. Because I noticed in your book, you had 250-some employees, and I wondered how that was coming along.
Right.
Nobody seems to know.
Yeah, and we're very supportive of that project. We put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and a lot of hours on that project. The county council approved a 10-year tax abatement on real estate and personal property for that project with a non-traditional abatement schedule, usually with a 10-year abatement, 100% the first year, then 90, 80, 70, 60. The council did a 3-year, 100% abatement, and then like 95, 85 from there. So it was a very aggressive schedule, and I think it was worth over $30 million to the company. So once we got that through, you know, it's my understanding that they're still a go in Carroll County, and we're very supportive. In 250 jobs, that would be significant, and they're well above the average wage in the county.
Right, right.
So yeah, anything that we could do to help on that project, you know, if we were asked to help, we would be happy to, anything we could do. It's my understanding that at the local level, there's nothing really that we can do at this point. It's in the company's court at this time.
Okay.
Any other questions for Ms. Wallace? Thank you very much. So move next to department head reports. Chief Wallen, would you like to start us out?
Thank you very much, Mayor. We've already got my report. Miles driven for this month, 4,402. 23 case reports, 16 citations, 4 written warnings, 11 crash reports, no parking tickets, 3 handgun licenses. The news releases are attached, and calls for services and arrests. We are going to have training for our new countywide records management system that's been coming for the last 2 years, I think, so it should be starting next month. I'm excited about that, to see how that plays out. 5th grade DARE graduation occurs on December 11th, and you're all welcome to come and attend. Do you have any questions?
I got a call from one of my constituents, probably about 3 weeks ago. She was very complimentary towards Shane. Went the extra mile to make sure that her daughter was taken care of, and she greatly appreciated that. So I thought I'd bring that up.
Maybe you could tell me who that was, so we can look over that. All right, thank you. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Superintendent Myers?
I don't have much more to add other than what's on the report. We had a couple water leaks. We asked for the utility test around town. We turned the fountain off at the courthouse for this winter's coming. We normally try to turn it on April 1st, turn it off November 1st, roughly. Starting to get everything winterized for winter, the wells and stuff, make sure the heaters work and insulation and stuff like that.
Any questions for Superintendent Myers? All right, thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Good evening. I got a short one too. Annual disinfection season ended at the end of October. We'll begin again next April. Along with not using chlorine and sulfur dioxide gases for disinfection, we will cease the testing for chlorine residual and E. coli. And then the only other thing of note, on the 25th of October, we got the sludge pump that's gonna feed the press. Still waiting to get it coordinated with the people that are gonna do the install. So, questions, please?
All right, thank you, Superintendent Van Sickle. Superintendent Lyons is on vacation this week. I know his guys have been busy. So the asphalt work on Wabash Street and Trailhead Park entryway was done. He was working with Superintendent Myers on utility cuts, those are finished. The guys spent a lot of time down at the community center in the right of way working on the approach, the sidewalk and the curbs, and getting dirt in there, and then they've started picking up leaves. and they've been pretty busy with all that wind and rains, knocked a lot of them down. I have a few things to add. Community Crossings got an email the other day that said they're gonna announce sometime in November. They're very specific, the state of Indiana, when they're telling us when they're doing stuff, when they need something from us, they're very specific, and it's a hard line day, but they said sometime in November, so I'll let you guys aware, or know when we're aware of that. The resolution presented regarding the elevator should be actually 2018-23. I'll talk about that when we get into it. I just misnumbered it. And then I've got another resolution for you today for advertising additional appropriations. So we can talk about that a little later. Do you guys have any questions regarding my mayor's report?
I want to personally thank Aaron and his crew for the amount of work that they've done down at the community center. I don't know how many of you have been by there, but all of the parking lot is striped and painted. The concrete work is all done. About 90% of the field dirt that is being put in over the rocky area is done. I don't know, and I haven't heard when they're gonna have an open house or any of that ribbon cutting ceremony or anything. But I had some bad information to an old friend of mine died. Bill Rodenbarger passed away, and he was instrumental in doing all of the, or most all, of the trim work inside the building, including the trim work up over top of the cabinets that are in there, all around the walls, the doors and stuff. So I took it upon myself to have a plaque made for Bill. And hopefully we'll be able to put it up on the day we cut the ribbon. I'm hoping we can.
Thank you, sir.
So,
Any other questions for me?
Well, I kind of wondered where we were financially on that building, getting the the parking lot done is a big thing. Now they can actually use it for the purposes that they desired. Is there any accounting for that? I know that the city ended up helping on the driveway, right? Or did we? I don't know.
So the city did everything within the right of way, so not on the grounds of the property, as it relates to the parking lot. I can't remember how much money we had, maybe 11,000, and it was estimated to
something
cost.
like that. I bet, but that was my last estimate, was 11,000. I don't know for sure if that's right or not, but it was a little
We had
over.
a couple bills from Brim, 650 and 450 that have come in, and that'll have to come out of that.
There should be quite a
But
bit more from Brent.
there should be quite a bit more from Brim, and you should have some, there should be some other bills coming in for it.
So,
But
Tiffany
none have been
Township
turned
has
in.
indicated they're going to pay, I believe it's around 9,500. I can't remember the specific amount to go towards the parking lot.
They've been extremely generous,
Yeah,
Tippecanoe Township trustee, and, you know, I just think there ought to be some appreciation expressed somehow in this open house, or whatever celebration occurs, some recognition for people that gave so much. I mean, I realize that Tippecanoe Township, it's tax money that is being given back, and it's for the benefit of the citizens of Tippecanoe Township as well. But, you know, a lot of community effort went into that building and the grounds and everything. I know council people helped greatly with it, and, you know, I just think once it's done, we ought to have something, an open house of some kind. I mean, it could even be a fundraiser if we still need to raise funds.
We were planning on a dedication
Were you?
to cover all that, so we just haven't got it scheduled yet. But yeah, you're absolutely right.
Well, I was gonna wait till we were done, so glad we're here. I wrote all this down too. I personally take this time to thank Mike and Dale and all the guys at work. I remember when this started, and you've come a long way with a lot of help from a lot of people.
Yes, we
Really,
have.
It really looks nice down there, and I agree. I think there ought to be some sort of grand opening or something, because it's a definite improvement from what they had that they lost, and now it's quite a step up. I'm very impressed. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. But, I will say this, I was not alone,
Oh, no.
you know. The man right sitting right over there, he don't take no credit for nothing. He doesn't, Mr. What? He doesn't take any credit for anything. But, yet at the same time, we put a tremendous amount of hours into building that site. For it to come out and the state inspector say it was one of the nicest buildings he had been in a long time, says a lot for the volunteers that we had. I mean, all of them, including the city guys, everybody that was involved in doing it, just like the Opera House. They had a lot of talent. You've got a lot of talent. But when you got talent like we had, there was nothing we couldn't do, you know? And Brian, I have to give you credit because you were the one who said it's time for us to take and do something for our senior citizens. You throwed the ball out there, we just dribbled it down the street. That's what, I mean, that's a pretty easy way of saying it.
There's a lot of people in it, that's what you're saying,
Yes.
and I agree. A lot
Yes.
of people to make it work.
Yes.
And since we're on that subject, what, I mean, I was at the Board of Works meeting the night that the renting it out was talked about, and I think a decision was made. I mean, people have asked me, so what is, I understand the deposit being high at $200, but I don't know how much the rent is. Everybody's telling me it's really high.
We set it at 200, no,
Set it at 200.
and that's maybe something we'll have to look back at. That was based on, I think we took into account different
Well,
units available for
I think
rent.
we were high. I don't think anyone else rented that high. I think the damage deposit serves as a big tool. We charge a damage deposit on the Riley cabin, and the minute we moved it up to a higher amount, it was amazing how people want that money back. So that Riley cabin is left clean. The problems that we used to run into were eliminated. So with the $200 deposit down there, they're gonna make sure that everything's cleaned up, the trash is removed. They're gonna do what they want because they wanna come back and get that check back. As far as the rent, every call they're receiving, the minute they hear it's that high, that it's 200, they're not interested. And